Hey, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Shooting the Shit Uncensored. I am your host, Piers Austin, and we are proudly brought to you by Multi-Continental Wrestling Alliance on Facebook and on YouTube. I also want to say a special thanks to WCW Nation, Brothers of the Belt, and Mayan Belts for allowing us to stream this interview in their groups and making our audience that much bigger. We've got a really special show for you guys tonight. We have the one and only Rowdy Ricky Knight coming on, and I'm really excited to be talking to Mr. Knight. Before we get into that, let's take a quick moment to say thank you to our sponsors who make this show possible every single week. First off is Signal Studios. Signal Studios is a recording studio based in Sydney, Australia, who's run by my good friend Rafi Tamasian. If you're a wrestler, you need a new entrance theme, hit up my boy Rafi. He can make it, edit it for you, and send it straight out for you as well. Or if you're in Sydney, you want a place to go in there and jam out some music, you can go down there and check it out as well. He's got a nice space down there. Our next sponsor is Mayan Belts. So Mayan Belts are the best championship belt makers in the world, ladies and gentlemen. If you want a custom championship belt or a replica of your favorite championship belt, you need to hit up Eddie and Ira Williams on Facebook. These guys have amazing payment plans. You know, not everyone can afford to pay for a belt straight up, but you can pay for a championship belt as little as $20 per paycheck and till the belt is paid off. Our next sponsor is A-Rock Designs. Now, A-Rock Designs is a company run by my really good friend, Ashley Rodriguez, based out of in Georgia, United States. She makes custom cups, tumblers, hoodies, keychains, you name it, she makes it. And from what I'm told, they can even monogram your dog. They don't recommend it, but guys, please go check out A-Rock Designs. I've got 4 cups on order from them, and I'm really, really excited to be receiving them. But I can see we've got quite a few people coming in here. And before I go any further, let's bring him out, Mr. Rowdy Ricky Knight. Ricky, how are you, brother?
Yeah, afternoon. Well, it's evening over there. Is it night time over there, isn't it?
Yeah, mate. It's 10:30 p.m. So I think it's about half past 1 your time.
Yeah, lunchtime, our time, 1:30. Yeah. How are we all? Doing good, I hope.
We're doing well, Ricky. We're doing well. So, you know, we're just talking backstage, and you were saying that you guys, due to this whole quarantine, you've been locked up for 3 months. How are you going mentally, mate? You know, you're chomping at the bit to get out?
Well, it's a bit tough. I've just done 3 months without any parole whatsoever. I haven't been out of the house because I'm under the specialist. There's 2 million of us on lockdown because I've got diabetes, which is pretty risky with the old COVID. So I haven't been able to go out my door nor see my well, I've seen them out the window, but I haven't been able to cuddle my grandkids and nothing, which is very hard because we were a very close family. So we miss the stuff where we can have barbies together and, you know, go out and picnic together and stuff like that. Without doing none of that, that's the hardest bit. You know, being indoors is not a problem because, you know, my wife is stuck with me. But, yeah, that's what you miss, the family side of things, really.
Yeah, absolutely, mate. And yeah, I definitely felt it myself. You know, obviously at the start of it, not seeing my parents or my in-laws. Well, the in-laws not so badly, mate. But but no, I kid. But no, like, yeah, no, it's been a crazy time. But Ricky, let's get into it, man. So, you know, tell me what was life like you for growing up? You know, you're from the UK. Was wrestling big when you were young and growing up?
Well, yeah, because we had when I was growing up, we had the British wrestling on TV. You know, it was we used to on a Wednesday night and then a Saturday dinner time just before the old soccer results. So it's prime time TV. And I think at one stage when Big Daddy was record, there was 24 million on the TV one Saturday afternoon before the cup final. So it was massive, as I said, and I grew up watching Jackie Pallo and people like that, and Big Daddy and Haystacks, and you know, when I got into the business and started wrestling them sort of guys, it was unbelievable to wrestle the people you'd seen on TV and stuff. You know, Rollerball Rocco, and Fit Finlay, all them sort of people. It was fantastic, and it was massive. You know, you couldn't walk down the street in them days without the public recognising them and all that. You see, so. It was terrible. When it was taken off the TV, it really slumped for years and years, but now it's built up to be massive again. British wrestling is actually massive again at the moment. So many companies in the country all selling out to big crowds, so it's fantastic.
Yeah, like I mean, English wrestling has really started to boom over the last few years. Or I don't want to say boom because I think it's probably always been booming, but I think probably it's more recognized on that international stage now. Obviously, since the introduction of NXT UK and seeing a lot of the UK stars really breaking out. When I was a kid growing up, I think that the main UK wrestler was William Regal. Fit Finlay was there. But
Yeah.
now you're seeing a plethora of talent coming out and really making their mark on the world of pro wrestling.
Well, that's the difference. You see, nowadays there is a window for them. You see, in our days it was very, very hard to break into America. I mean, you talk about Steve Regal. I remember he used to write all the time for years, and the British change would go, they won't be interested in you. They won't do this. They won't do that. But to be fair, he kept writing and writing. In the end, he came in one day and said he'd got his trial. Basically, he was going over there, and the rest is history. So, but in them days, it's very, very hard. As you say, the window is so big now. Any British talent out there who's good enough will find their way to one of the big companies. It's as simple as that, really. I mean, it's a worldwide thing now, and we're not broke up in sections no more. It's one big worldwide wrestling, and not like the old days. You'd be British, you'd be Japanese, you'd be American, you'd be this, be that. It seems the whole world now is in one sphere and all working together.
Yeah, no, and it's exactly the same with Australian wrestling, and for that, Australian wrestling has always been good, but it's only probably the past several years that we've seen Australian talent getting that national recognition, or the international recognition, I should say, from those other outlets. But obviously, you mentioned growing up and being a fan of Big Daddy Haystacks and gentlemen like that. You actually got into wrestling when how you got into wrestling was you were a bouncer at a bar and you met Jimmy Ocean. What was it like first meeting Jimmy Ocean, and how did you break into the business with him?
Well, the thing was, as I said, this bar was really rough. It was, you ever seen the film Roadhouse with Patrick Swayze?
Yes, sir.
Well, that was how it was in the 80s when I first met Jimmy. I was the governor of a bouncing agency, and we used to go to all these dodgy clubs and clean them up. And King's Inn was a very, very dodgy club. And we used to have iron doors up the front to keep out the troublemakers. And one night we got a knock on the door, and I used to always look after the door. That was my job, because I could remember a face. Anyone had been a bit naughty, old Ricky always remembered them. Anyway, I saw these little bunch all out there with the flat noses and collie ears. I thought, oh, these are going to be trouble. So I've gone, listen, guys, can't let you in. It's, give them the old spiel. It's a members club. And they go, oh, no, we've just been down at the Corn Exchange wrestling, bud. We just want a quiet drink. So I thought, I said to my boys, look, they're fighting, man. They ain't going to give us no problem. We'll let them in. So I let them in. Well, next thing I know, Jimmy Ocean come up with a pint for me. That's the first and last time he ever bought me a pint, my head. And we got talking about things, and he's on about the wrestling, and have I ever thought about doing wrestling? And I was going, never entered my head, mate. I run businesses, I'd run market stalls and business and bouncing agencies and all that. So anyway, about 2 weeks later, I go around to friends in Norwich, my city where I live, and who's on the settee was Jimmy Ocean. And he was a lodger. And he was just going training down the old Corn Exchange in Norwich, where the wrestling was held every Saturday. Yeah. And he asked me if I'd like to come along. So I went along. We'd done a few moves in about 2 hours. And he said, mate, you're a natural. You should try this. So within 6-7 months, I'd give up every business I had and dedicate myself to wrestling. And as I said, that's the story. We went on to be tag team champions. Held the belts over 10 years, the longest in British wrestling history. And we were very much ahead of our time with all our clothes and our get-ups and stuff. We went down a storm, and that's how it all started, really.
Yeah. How old were you when you met when you met Jimmy and you started training?
Well, I was very late in life, I said, because I was 32 at the time. I mean,
oh, wow.
But I've been I played soccer, and I started the Norwich American football team called the Norwich Devils, because American football was big in them days too in England.
Yeah.
And then other things, and then I got my business, and I just stopped doing things. Stopped doing the sport and never thought about sport again, because I do as well in business. But then when I met Jimmy and he got me down the gym, and that first day, I just got the bug. First day, it was unbelievable. You know, first day I thought, this is what I want to do. I just want to be a pro wrestler, and that was it. And it just went from there. So yeah, it's 35 years ago. I'm now 67, and I'm still going.
That's it, mate. That's it. But you know what? And this is a question I like to ask. All my guests. Obviously, I've got such a deep respect for the world of professional wrestling, being a lifelong fan. But what was it like getting in the ring for the first time and taking that first back bump? Was it like this was what I was meant to be doing, or was it like, holy fuck, man, this is I don't know if I'm going to be doing this again.
I was having such a good time, and I thought, this is fantastic, and we went back to the old pub, and I got to the gym. I was so excited, because I just couldn't control my excitement. And then the next day, I couldn't get out of bed hardly because my back was aching. Everything had gone, my shoulders, everything. Because Jimmy's a very strict trainer. It's all bumps. You just do nothing for bumps for weeks on end. And then you end up doing it in my bedroom, and we're taking bumps on floors or a single mattress and stuff like that. And he's a very hard taskmaster, to be honest with you. But even the hard time and the hard training, I loved it because I was always fit anyway. I used to run. Ever since I was, 15, I used to run 5 mile every night anyway because I played football and all other sports. Yeah. So I was pretty fit at the time. But at the time, I did have a very bad alcohol problem. And that's why Jimmy saved me, because I was an alcoholic at the time. And it gave me the incentive to give up drink and get me off the alcohol and start a fresh life. And, without Jimmy, I always say I wouldn't have been here now because I was real bad in drinking. So, that was a good thing for me, and wrestling helped save my life on more than one occasion, to be fair.
Yeah, and obviously, you're looking at at your family as well. It pretty much gave you, or gave your family a career in business, and your children, your wife, and and look where you are now, and look where your family are now in the world of pro wrestling. It's amazing.
Yeah, well, the thing is, I said to my wife all the time, I was never a great wrestler. I'll be the first one to say that, but I was an entertainer. Jimmy was a wrestler in the tag team. I was the entertainer in the so-called powerhouse and stuff. And, Jimmy could mix it with Johnny Saint, Stevie Gray, all the top, technicians. But I was definitely an entertainer. But I said to Joe, I want to leave a legacy. I love wrestling so much. I want to leave a legacy, I don't think my wrestling's ever going to leave a legacy, even though I was champion of this, I've had so many belts, it's a joke. But I want people to remember when I leave this mortal coil and say, Ricky Knight done that. Ricky Knight done that. Look at his family. How many family are wrestling? A bit like the Hearts,
Yeah.
And we're looking at a new facility now, which will be hopefully a permanent one, where my legacy will be left when I go. That's going to be there, and people go, Ricky Knight founded that. Now his family are running it, and now the grandkids are running it, and it's a thing. I never want wrestling to die, never ever, because it is the best art in the world. It's the best entertainment in the world. It's the most tolerant thing in the world. I mean, I don't know you, but we're getting a lot of this racist stuff going over here. And I've always said, in wrestling, it doesn't what color you are, what creed you are, what religion you are, what God you support. Never ever has it been an issue in wrestling. As long as you can do your job in that ring and you can give a good show, everyone's welcome. And that's what my gym's been made up of. We've got autistic kids, we've got blind kids, we've got everybody in that gym is a mixed, part of society, and we all get on, and everyone gets on. It doesn't matter who you are, you will get a chance in wrestling. That's why I love the business so much. It's so open.
Yeah, no, I couldn't agree more. And that's the thing where professional wrestling brings people from around the world together. And, for me, I've been able to, meet friends that are wrestling fans by obviously doing this show, and met lifelong wrestling fans and lifelong friends as well. But I do just want to take a minute because we do have some comments coming in from the live audience. We got Christy, who's a good friend of ours and helps me run Multi-Continental Wrestling Alliance, the page. She says, "G'day, Ricky. Looking forward to the show." She's a big fan of yours and a big fan of your family as well. So next is Mikey Mados, another one of our admin here. He's the one that makes all of our lovely artwork that you saw before the show. He says, "Freaking Ricky Knight, legend." And also, just another quick shout out to Mr. Stewie, who you've spoken to recently, who says the greatest wrestling family in the UK. Proud to call you one of them, one of our own. So,
thank you very much, guys. Appreciate that. Really.
And also, Kevin Rodriguez, one of my good friends, who also does a show similar to this. He's called The War Room. He says, Ricky, do you feel a sense of pride seeing a man you helped train in Nick Aldis reach the level he has?
Well, I'm going to answer that because, yes, I do. I mean, Nick is, he's never forgot his roots. You know, he started at WAW and you know, he went to other schools as well, but he started with us. We give him a basis and he's never forgot that. Any interview he does, he thanks us. He still thanks us. And, you know, he's done 2 great defences in our company against little Ricky Knight Jr. And at Fight Mare last year, he was on with a guy called Brad Slayer, great talent. And it was, you know, apart from Ricky Knight Jr. and Roy Knight, I think that's probably the match of the show at Fight Mare. And Nick is, to me, Nick does everything right. He looks like a champion. He dresses like a champion. He behaves like a champion. It's so easy to be a champion and go out with a shell suit and a baseball cap and all that business. You know what I mean? And I think that degrades the belt. You know, you're meant to be a champion. You're meant to look the part. And you cannot ever say that Nick Aldis don't look the part. And he never downplays his opponent. He always makes his opponent. I've always said to my guys, if you know, chat bad about your opponent and you're making the world think you're beating rubbish, what have you beat? But if you build him up, the public will think you're beating someone with a bit of class. And that, and Nick's always took that into his promos. That's why I love his promos. He's a class act. I can't say highly enough of Nick.
Yeah, no, I agree. And I think probably out of, you look at all the world champions in any major promotion, he carries himself, you know, in that old school way. Like, as you said, he carries himself as a champion. He presents himself as, you know, I don't want to compare him to any other legends, but like that, like almost like a Ric Flair type thing. He presents himself as a world champion. You know, like a world-class athlete, and that's what I think is missing in a lot of wrestling today. But you know, we was talking about you know, Jimmy Ocean that you were like training with, and he became your tag team partner. As you mentioned, you held the tag titles with him for nearly 10 years, and you had the tag team, the Superflies. How did that tag team come to about? Was it his way of trying to break you into the business by having you in a tag team with him?
It was a complete accident. You talk about things are meant to happen. You know, like that night Jimmy walked into that nightclub was meant to happen. Yeah. Well, before a year or so down the line, Jimmy got a chance to go and work for the Crabtrees in Leeds, doing the Big Daddy tags and that. Yeah. So Jimmy decided to move up to Leeds, and I started on a solo career with my wife, Sweet Saraya Knight, was my valet. And made all new stuff and everything. And I decided that I was going to do my hair. I thought, because we always had the mohawk. So I said, right, I'm going to be different. I went out and my hair dyed blonde, black at the side, the skunk look.
Yeah.
Well, Jimmy's in Leeds, and I got a phone call from Brian Dixon saying, could you do King's Lynn Call Exchange Saturday night? So I went down there. Who walks in? Jimmy Ocean. Got the same hairstyle. We didn't realise we were both from the same. So Brian Dixon looked at us. He said, bloody hell. He said, the tag team, the Superflies, because at the time I was Superfly Ricky Knight. Yeah. And Jimmy looked at him. I looked at Jimmy. Well, at the end of the night, Jimmy went, well, go for this, Rick. And he went up to Brian Dixon. He said, are you serious about the tag team? He says, we will go away and get our stuff ready. And Brian said, yes. And that's what we've done. So Brian Dixon of All Star Promotions was the man who created the Superflies and made us. And I always credit Brian for being the man who made the Superflies, because we went away and we had all this outrageous stuff made. Brian loved it. He pushed us. And, you know, I was sort of main eventing with 18 months of training, you know. So Brian really pushed us as a team and eventually put the titles on us in 1990. We first won the titles. So, yeah, it was, as I said, sometimes things are meant to happen, and that's what happened. You know, it's just Jimmy having the same hairstyle. We didn't even know each other were going to do it. So that's crazy.
The universe works in some crazy ways, Ricky, doesn't it? But you mentioned that your wife, Sweet Saraya, was your valet at the time, and she went on to be the manager or valet for the Superflies as well. But how did you end up meeting Sweet Saraya, and how did you convince her to break into the business as well?
Well, the thing was, it's another thing was supposed to happen. So I went to we got, I don't know if we got Australia, but we got holiday camps here, what we call Butlins, Pontins. I don't know if you ever heard of them. They're holiday parks. Well, It's a cheap family holidays for families, okay? And during the summer, we wrestle on them. You can do, at that time, I was doing up to 20 shows a week on the holiday parks. And I went to this place called Hemsbury near Great Yarmouth. I walked in, I see this beautiful young lady behind the counter serving up the food. And funny enough, I looked at her, she looked at me, and you got to remember, I was 38 at the time, she's nearly 19. So even though I thought she was dead gorgeous, I never thought, it's going to be nothing like that. But she gave me a smile, I give her a smile back. I get back to the table, she put an extra bit of chicken under my salad and give me another. So anyway, I still didn't think no more, but after about 2 weeks, we met up at a pub, and next thing I know, we're sort of seeing each other. Within 6 weeks, I'd asked her to marry me, and she said yes. And we've been together 30 years now. So
that is amazing. That is amazing. And was she always did she break into the wrestling because she was a massive fan, or was it something that you had to convince her to get into?
Another thing, actually, that accidentally, I keep telling with things, but this is how life reacts. She was actually top chef at the holiday park, and she used to do about 18-hour days, and she became ill one time. I was wrestling on the camp, and I went down the chemist, got all his stuff, and I took it back to Shelley, and this guy burst in, was shouting and screaming out to get to work. Her throat had closed up and everything else. So I just told him basically to do one. And I said to Julia, or Saraya to the world, you're coming home with me. I'm not having this, So she come home with me, and then she used to travel around with the team, because we used to travel around the band with the ring, run these parks. Well, she started off by cooking, showing, doing all the crap jobs, helping put the ring up. And then one day we got to this place called Canberra Sands, and there's a crowd of about 2,000 in there. And I said, tonight you make your debut, sweetheart. I said, what do you mean? I said, you're going out there as my valet. I said, put on the best dress you got, the shortest dress you got. I've done a couple. I said, you might have to take a couple of slams. So I slammed on the concrete floor in the changing room. And she went out there and she nailed it. The place erupted. And I knew I had a natural. And when the winter time came, I wrote to all the promoters in England and said, look, I've got this manager. She is absolutely fantastic. You're going to love her. But what I'm going to do, I'm going to give it to you free for the first show. And if you want to book her again, you pay her. Because I knew she was that good. So everyone I took her to all booked her a second time, because she was amazing. And the crowd reaction she got was nothing unbelievable. Because most ballets in them days were, pretty girls who, didn't do much. But she got involved. She got thrown over the top rope. She got involved with her high heel when the referee was turned. And then she got a big write with this magazine called the Sour Touch of the Sweet Saraya, because she'd got a ball gown and looked really posh. And as soon as the referee turned, she became a she-devil. And she got so much publicity over it and so much this, that she was just amazing. And then obviously, as we went round, we taught her wrestling moves, we taught her to wrestle, and then her career took off, and she's been a sensation. She's been absolutely unbelievable. She's been a champion on 4 different continents. It just says it all.
Yeah, absolutely. And, and to credit as well, I interviewed Lufisto probably about a month ago, and she could not put over Saraya enough. She was saying, some of the best wrestlers in the world, and Sweet Saraya was at the top of her list, and that's a credit to her and everything what she's done for women's wrestling in the world. And, and other female wrestling talents I've spoken to always speak highly of her.
Well, the thing is, we look at it next year, and all the girls stood together, and Julia said that she had a part of training, 60-70% of them, because they were trained in America. Obviously, she trains for Nick up in Perth. She's over there regularly with the Australian promotion over there. She's been doing that for a few years now. Nick, shout out to Nick. I love him to pieces. I never met him, but he's like a brother to me. We talk all the time. So yeah, she's been all around the world, Canada, America, everywhere you can think of. She's Nigeria. She's been everywhere teaching wrestling. So she's a great teacher of wrestling. I often wonder where she learned all the stuff from, because I didn't teach it, But she is just unbelievable trainer.
Oh, absolutely. So we have a question here from Lee Taitoko. Sorry if I don't pronounce that name correctly, but he wants to know, hey, Ricky, watching from New Zealand, how is your promotion going over in England? Are you still involved? Yes, he is. But he also has another question that he wants to know, what is your biggest match that you've had that you will rate as one of your greatest ever matches?
Well, I always say it's when we first won the tag team titles in 1990 at Bristol in front of 1,000 sold-out fans, and we wrestled a team called King Ben and Kid McCoy, who were a father and son tag team, the biggest baby faces, in wrestling at the time, and we never expected to get the belts. It's just amazing, and the match went on for 48 minutes. It was a 48-minute tag match. And we didn't break the rules for 30 minutes. But then the story was that Kid McCoy went to get up. All I'd done was kneed him. He started to bleed from the eye socket, and the rest of the match was him trying to tag his dad in. But I've never seen so much heat in my life. And the crowd would try to come over the ropes at us, and security were kept busy. But the feeling to be in the business and know that the promoter rates you highly enough to put a belt. I mean, you got to remember, in 1990, there weren't hundreds of federations in the country like now. That was probably 2 or 3 companies. And Brian was the main company, and you were recognised all over the world as his champion when you become his champion. So that's the biggest buzz I've ever had, and one of the best matches I've ever had for the storyline, the psychology, the wrestling involved, and everything. It was a great match.
Yeah, no. Look, can we find that match anywhere? Is it online anywhere that we could try and track it down?
I know. I know we got a tape of it somewhere, but I don't know if it's online. It would be. You could try the Superflies versus Ben and McCoy, Colston Hall, Bristol, 1990.
I'm going to go check that out straight after this interview. But so in 1994, you started WAW with yourself, Saraya, and Jimmy Ocean. What was the idea of starting your own promotion? Was it something like, we're seeing all these promoters making money off us, now we should try and do it ourselves? Or was it that you saw some dodgy dealings with promoters and thought you guys could do it a little bit more cleaner and better, or do it your own way?
Yeah, it's more of a do it our own way. I mean, don't make me wrong, buddy. Brian Dixon, I've got so much respect for and everything else. But, on that night, as I said, the greatest night of my life. And, there weren't no belts at the end of it. It's like, geez, we just won the biggest titles. So me and Jimmy went and had our own belts made 2 days after. We made the belts viable and stuff like that. And it got to the stage where championships are being treated like crap. It's like, go on, second or third, defend the world title. And, in my company, the world title always goes on last. We still have the fanfare. We still have the national anthems of the, if a New Zealand guy was going against a British guy, both anthems were played, stuff like that. It still made a big wow of things. And I just felt like the punters were being cheated, It was all about, let's give them a show, 5 matches, let's go home. And the thought for the business had all gone because it had gone off telly. People felt they could be lazy, That's how I thought. And, I don't disrespect any of the guys because I love Brian. Brian Dixon, as I said, he made the Superflies and the Crabtrees. Once Big Daddy had gone, they didn't know what to do, So I thought, I said to Jimmy, let's just run a company. My point was I wanted to make my own stars as well, which I think we've done. We made a lot of, got our own training school, one of the oldest training schools in the UK, and we've trained our own people, we've made stars, and even now, I can actually make a show with my own family, let alone my roster. Out to do. as I said, we make belts worth having. We still go by the old adage: you earn a belt. It's not given. You're a wrestler. 24 hours a day, not just for the minute you're in the ring. How you portray yourself, how you portray the company, all this sort of stuff is how we run our business, and that's why we started it. It wasn't for the money. So to be honest, I was making much more money when I was running bouts and agencies and market stalls than I've ever earned in wrestling. But I've never had the job satisfaction I've had in wrestling. So that's the difference, It's not about money with me. As I said, it's always about what's best for wrestling and a legacy when I go. That's what it's always been about.
Yeah. And, and that's the thing, you talk about, you could book a complete show with your family, and obviously, your children, Roy, Zak, and Paige, all professional wrestlers, your grandson, Ricky Jr., who the namesake, your namesake as well. But I actually saw. Yeah, I actually saw on social media probably a couple of weeks ago that Zak's children, who are, I think your grandson's about 8 or 9 years old, had his first wrestling match recently. So
5-year-old,
5
and my great grandson, he's 5 as well. So that they had a match as well. And Caden, Zak's boy, he's 6. I think he's just turned 7. He's had his match. Because what we do, we run kiddies shows. Our kiddies group go from 6 to 15. Yeah. They do their own shows and they have their own Kid Mania, which is a massive show for them. And that's what keeps them interested. And, obviously we don't get them to take the massive bumps up, but a lot of it's British style wrestling, a lot of chain wrestling. But the fans and the parents are so supportive. I mean, I think their record crowd was 500 for a Kid Mania,
Wow.
Some the bigger companies would like a crowd like that, and it's just amazing what the kids can do.
Yeah, and you know what? No promotion is doing that. And could you I can just imagine, my inner 12-year-old right now would be marking out if someone said, "Hey, would you like to get into a wrestling ring and have a match?" I'd be like, sign me up. I think every kid would sell their soul for that opportunity, So
the thing is, a lot of the kids have got autism, Asperger's and stuff, and the parents have sat down. We sit down with the parents, and they've just said the belief it's given. I mean, one of the lads, his school attendance was down to about 43%. He's been wrestling; it's now up to 100%.
Wow.
We've got kiddies whose tablets have gone down. We've got another lad who used to be so violent, he'd hit his mother, he'd do this sort of stuff, and now he's just a perfect gentleman. Well, he's actually out there doing my garden with Ricky, and he's got a real bad autism, but he's had championship belts, and now all the other autistic kids look up to him. Well, I said, we've got the blind kid from the movie, James. He's still wrestling, and he's an inspiration to everybody. So as I said, when we get down at the gym, we're inspired by everyone in there, because they've all got difficulties and they've all got stories to tell. And, we've got abused kids, sexually abused kids that we'll give a second life to. And that's what I'm proud of. As I said, money can't buy that. £1 million can't buy saying a blind kid walk into the gym one day, so I want to wrestle. And I thought, Zak, mate, this is a challenge. And he said, Dad, we can do it. And when he had his first match, I've got to admit, the tears were running down my cheeks, And then we had a little Down syndrome kid he called Sam, who trained for a year and a half. And we said, "You ready for a match, Sam?" And his dad was really, "Do you think he's ready?" And we put him in there. We put him on my other grandson, PJ, in a hood. And the match was amazing. He got a standing ovation. To see his dad with tears run down his cheek, think, money can't buy this. Money can't buy this sort of thing. This is what we do. This is what wrestling's all about. We give people opportunities. Doesn't matter where they are, where they come from, what problems they got. We can give them that, time to shine, and that's what we do as a company.
Yeah, no, and it's amazing, and hearing all these stories about it, and it just, I take my hat off to you to be able to give this opportunity to children that have had hard lives or have these things these limitations, as you said, that in other areas of life may sort of stop them from excelling and succeeding, and give them an opportunity the same opportunity as everyone else to get in there and live out their dream of being a professional wrestler and to get in the ring. I take my hat off to you, sir. You know, like my respect level for you was already here, sir. It's now gone up through the roof, mate. And I genuinely mean it.
Anyone who's seen the movie knows where I come from, what I was. It's no secret, you know. And, you know, I turned my life around, and all I wanted was second chances, you know, and they weren't forthcoming. You know, it's just like every door was shut to me. That's why I've always worked for myself, because, you know, no one will give you an opportunity. And, you know, what I did was wrong in my past, but it also shaped me as the man I am now. Without my past, I wouldn't be the man I am now, you know. So even though I regret my past, it's something what's happened. But I said to myself, well, if I get the opportunity to give people second chances, that's what I'm going to do. Or even first chances where, you know, when it comes to illnesses and mental illnesses and that, you know. So, and it's not a secret of the fact I've got, you know, a mentally ill son who's in permanent lockdown in an institution that we can't, you know, it's been there now 15 years on and off. And, you know, I just feel that people like him, you know, they need help. I'm afraid my son's probably beyond repair, but people the same sort of thing, we can help. We have helped who are now married, got children and stuff like that, and turned their lives around. So that's what my inspiration is, and that's my family is, and stuff like that. And, you know, and as long as we're doing that, we're happy. You know, we do take some stick on the internet at times, but we're happy. We know what we're really doing and what we're really all about, you know, so that's all that matters.
Yeah, and look, there's always going to be internet tough guys and keyboard warriors and all that bullshit, you know, but anyone who's watching this interview can see how genuine you are and how passionate you are about, you know, giving people second chances and giving people opportunities, you know, to live out their dream and to live out, you know, and especially young children to give them that opportunity to get in the ring and have a match and to call themselves professional wrestlers, you know, is absolutely amazing. But, you know, obviously we talk about, you know, your children and you know, you mentioned your son who's been in a facility, and I saw that and I saw a Facebook post you did the other day, and you know, as I mentioned before to you before the show started, I'm a father myself, and reading that post that you did, you know, my heart completely went out to you, mate. And you know, it's something will never pretend to know about, and like I said, it's you know, seeing that and hearing you talk about your family, it's such a passionate, close knit. And as I was saying, you know, when I first started this, after seeing the Fighting With My Family documentary back in 2012, and when I started interviewing wrestlers, the first name that was at the top of my list was Ricky Knight, and the second name was Sweet Saraya. So for me, it was like I always wanted this opportunity to sit down with you because you seem like such a genuine guy that really sort of brought his family together. And pro wrestling was one of those things that really did it. But you can definitely see that tight-knit family bond that you guys had in that documentary, and you could see that it was genuine. It wasn't just, oh, the cameras are here, we got a lovey-dovey. It was a genuine thing that I sensed from that.
Yeah, as I said, the only thing that made me a bit emotional the other day is that I've lost track of the kids we've helped with mental illnesses, you know, and the only regret in my life is that I can't help my son. So I don't, you know, I think he's beyond repair, and they're probably spending the rest of his life in there. And it bugs me every day that we can, as a family, can take these other kids and give them a life, but we tried so hard with my son, but it's just something that's never going to happen. And some nights, like last night, when he's on there to me, saying that I'm Winston Churchill and my mate Starling, and you know he's got £1 million bail. What he does, he watches all the news, and it all mixes up in his head, and in the end, he thinks he's going to be assassinated and all this sort of stuff. And you can't convince him otherwise, you know. And when you've got 20 minutes with your son, and you think, I just can't do nothing here to help. You know? Whereas I get a kid in the office, you know. I'm not being funny. For example, we had lads come to me who, you know, are gay, and they said to me, I don't know how to tell my dad. And I'll sit there with them hours and hours and day by day. And eventually they go and tell their family, and their life's so much better. But I can't say to my son how I can make his life better, because I can't. And that's the most frustrating thing in life, you know, that we can't help so many people, but we'll never be able to help my son. That was the frustration of that post I put the other night, really.
Yeah, and I think anyone who is a parent can definitely relate to that. Is, you know, you always want the best for your children, no matter how old or young that they are. and when your children are hurting and when your children are going through stuff, it breaks your heart. And obviously my children are a little bit younger than yours, Ricky, but it's the same no matter how old they are, my friend. It's
I mean, as I say, it doesn't matter how old they get. I mean, like Paige, it's every bad thing she got on the internet hurts us all, and it's really hard, and I didn't realise, that fame was so tough. Everyone dreams of being famous. We all want to do that. We all want that adulation and the money, but I didn't realise how tough it was till my own daughter became famous. And what they have to put up with and on a daily basis is just crazy. I'm just glad that I do what I do, and I do it, in my own gym, and I just look after people. And even then, I get a load of nonsense. You know what I mean? But it's just. But what they have to take on a daily basis is just ridiculous. And seeing my daughter go through it at times has been really tough. And but she come out the other side because she's a tough girl, tough cookie, tough businesswoman. And she's fine, she's doing great.
Yeah, and I'm not going to go into the details of all the stuff that's come out, on Paige, but I remember seeing a lot of the stuff come out and hearing about it, and knowing that Paige is still a young woman. She's only like in her mid-20s, and still very young, and for anyone to be going through that, especially someone who's young like that as well, it would take a massive toll on their mental health and their whole mindset. But as a parent, how did you feel like, when everything was going on? And as I said, we're not going to go into the specifics, but as a father being on the other side of the world, when your daughter's going through that must have been so hard for you guys.
Well, to be honest, me and my wife sat up most nights, and we didn't really know what to say. To be honest, it was it's nearly a Amy Whitehouse thing, very near.
Yeah,
on 2 or 3 occasions, and it was tough.
Yeah, no, I like I said, it's I've never really been one to buy into the dirt sheets, and especially the internet slander.
It's no secret, what's out there, and we, as a family, we face things head on. But what I'm saying is, what people forget, when Paige, as they all know, went out there, she was an 18-year-old kid,
yeah,
vulnerable kid who went into a new big world with everyone's. The whole family and all the British public on expecting her to do the great things. I didn't realise, maybe up to 10, 20 times a day she'd ring me in tears saying, "Dad, I want to come home." It's really tough. And seeing her break down, he kept trying to motivate her, saying, "Look, just wait till the next big event, sweetheart. Wait till WrestleMania, sweetheart. Wait till SummerSlam." And then, because she just didn't know whether she could cope. And as I said, the first year was just, right, give it a chance and stuff. And she did. She kept fighting back, and then, she got her reward when she got her championships and that. But what I'm saying, people think, she went over and had it easy. Believe me, it wasn't easy.
No, and you know what? And that's the thing. The women's wrestling revolution, majorly in WWE, in my opinion, and many others as well, it started with Paige, because at the time she was something different. She was really that breakout of this. And I remember the first time I saw her in NXT, I was like, this girl is different from what we're seeing in women's wrestling today. And I've always been a big fan. And what she's accomplished and everything that she's done, as a father, you must be very proud.
Oh yeah, I mean, I said to her, I was proud over here, even because I said it 15, 16, she's flying around the world. People don't realise that.
Yeah,
she was putting into promoters all over the world. I'd have my own show, and I go, Saturday Raw, we're at, say, Thetford. She said, Dad, I'm in Turkey. What? I'll be booked to Turkey, and I'll be booked to Norway. I'll be booked to Sweden. And her philosophy was, book me now, I'm going to be famous. And she had that belief, Other people would call it arrogance, but she had that belief. And, 15, 16, she's on more money than her mother. Her mother was established star, So she always had this confidence and stuff, you know what I mean? So she knew what she wanted, and she was a real strong-willed girl, But as I said, it was the biggest thing for us. We are a close family, and me and Saraya are very close, as a father and daughter. Yeah. And for her to be carried off to a country 1,000 miles away, You know what I mean? And try and survive out there. It was just amazing. You remember she had to, get her flat. She had to make her own stuff up. She had to get everything sorted out and stuff like that. And it was not easy. So, yeah, I'm immensely proud of her. I'm proud of her now. She's got her own businesses. She's got, she's got a makeup business. She's got a clothes business. She's doing really well. She lives in a house in not Vegas, Los Angeles.
Yeah.
My house will fit in her kitchen. Not bad for a girl who come from a council estate in Norwich. You know what I mean? So I'm mega proud of her, and she never forgets her roots. So I won't let her.
That's it.
I'd watch her. I'd make her make me a coffee and make me do things just to keep her on a level. And she never argued. She'd do it for me, and that's how she's always been. She's a level-headed girl.
You've raised them right, mate.
Yeah.
One of the things I want to say is, obviously seeing the documentary and obviously seeing the movie, Fighting With My Family, that scene where everyone came and saw her off at the airport. I'm a grown man, and me and my wife went and saw that movie. And my wife, who's never been a wrestling fan, she walked away from that movie and she became a Paige fan after that. And when we're sitting there, when they had that airport scene, my wife's going, "Oh, isn't this really sad?" And then she's like, "I didn't say it." And she looked over, and I'm like, "This one."
Yeah, but that bit with the hood, that is true. When she left Norwich, she said to Zak, "I don't look, I can do it, Zak." And he said, "Listen, sis, when you walk away from the group, just put your hood up and don't look back."
Yeah.
The true story, and that's what she done. I watched her put her head up. That's what made me get tearful, because I remember Zak's last words to her, "Put your hood up, don't look back, or she won't go." And that's what she done. That's why it's so emotional to me. It was, I remember the exact words being said. So yeah, that's what made it very, very emotional.
Oh, 100%. And we talk about Zak, and in the documentary and in the movie, we see Paige getting signed, and unfortunately Zak didn't get signed. But to his credit, and like I said, I follow you all on social media. That's still his goal, and I take my hat off to him. But just like, that's not letting him stop. But how much? How did he take not being signed? His sister doing, like, was that a sort of like hard for you? Sort of, you want to be happy for her, but you sort of want to sort of lift your son back up to.
Well, yeah, what didn't come out of the movie too much is that Roy was the first one to ever go there. My oldest son, Roy, and he got turned down, and Roy went on he went downhill very quick, and had a few problems. That's something else that's well documented. Roy had problems, and people forget that he was the first one to go for a trial and got turned down. That really, because Roy didn't drink or nothing until he was 21. He got turned down for pro soccer as well when he went for trials and scored loads of goals and got to. So when Ray got signed and Zak didn't, we knew what to look for, And at one stage Zak did go downhill, and but if you remember the line in the film where Paige actually says to Zak, just because you ain't got a crowd watching you, Zak, or people cheering you on, doesn't mean you're not a star. What you're doing is making you a bigger star. Training blind kids, training autistic kids and stuff like that. And I think that sunk into Zak, that every day he goes in that gym with his kids, he's a star to them and to the local local community. Zak is a big star. He walks down the street, everyone knows him here. They know what he does for these kids. They know what he's capable of. We used to do training schools at at schools or the kids were locked into because they're so naughty. But then 1 minute, Zak would have all these kids eating out of his hands. He's got that sort of gift. So I think he realised, even though he went in front of a screaming crowd like Paige, he was doing the same sort of thing but in a different way. But I still believe that his chance is going to come on in the big leagues because he's too good not to be taken. He's brilliant, a brilliant lad in the ring. He's one of the best mic men. I know he's my son, but he's one of the best mic men around. Even all the Americans that come over to our show say Zak's one of the best mic men they've seen. So he's made up for the American stuff, in my opinion. So we just have to watch this space. I'm still think he'll be there. And RKJ will be another one. He'll definitely be there. 1,000,000,000,000,000%. RKJ will be there.
Oh, 100%. And, you know, as we spoke before, you know, I got to sit down with RKJ, and one of the most respectful guys I've ever been able to have a conversation with. And he's definitely got a bright future, as does Zak, you know, Zak as well. And he's still very, very young, and
Oh,
he's still got a world of opportunity ahead of him. But, you know, obviously, you know, we're going to talk about the movie a little bit because we are getting in there in time, and Ricky has been kind enough to give us some time to sit down and do this interview. But, you know, Nick Frost portraying you in the movie, you know, was you know, I'm a huge Nick Frost fan. I'm not sure if you are, but was that you know, how did it come to be that he got cast for the role? Did you have sort of any input in that, like who you'd like to play yourself?
Well, I thought George Clooney was better. He looked more like me, but when it came out, to be honest, I asked for Ray Winston. I know you know Ray Winston over there.
The name sounds better. I got to match.
Their Scum and all that, did you? And films like that. I don't know.
Yeah.
He plays all the gangster roles over here and all that. So, I mean, the real one would have been Bob Hoskins, but he's dead now. But anyway, I got talking, and I was told it was, you know, it's Nick Frost. Well, I'm not really a movie buff. I'm a sports fan, so I don't watch many movies.
Yeah.
So to be fair, I hadn't really heard of him too well. But once I see the film and I see how he played the role, I know it's, you know, comedied up a bit, but I thought it was pretty accurate with me because I'm known as the king of the one-liners and the king of the one-takes and stuff like that. And some of the one-liners in there was great. I mean, obviously everything weren't spot on. I mean, you know, there's no way I'm going to send someone down to shop to nick a bottle of fucking scotch or something, you know what I mean? But, you know, I accept it's movie, you know, and 90% of it was true, but some of it weren't. But all I'm saying is I thought he portrayed me well. He put his heart and soul into it. I met him, and he was one of the nicest guys I've ever met in my life, you know. He was so humble, as was one who played Zak, and the girl who played Raya was a beautiful young lady, you know. So, yeah, they're all good, and like, I'm terrible with names even now. Look, you know.
I thought there was I thought the movie was really well cast, and
yeah, I mean, one who played Jules as well, you know, Game of Thrones. She was absolutely brilliant, and she studied Julia so well, her characteristics and stuff like that. And I thought they were all so professional, absolutely brilliant, you know. And I love the film. You know, I sit there sometimes and watch it now, and I forget I'm watching myself and my family. I just think I'm watching a movie, and I sit down after. I go, I still can't believe this film was made about us, sweetheart. You know, it's so humbling and so unreal that, you know, that the film was made about just a working class family from little old Norwich, England. It just don't make sense, you know.
It must be surreal, though, that, you know, you're looking back over your 30-plus career and to see a movie being made, you know, about your daughter and about your family. That must have been like, just, you know what I mean? Like, it's.
Well, I think the biggest thing was when we had the premiere in our hometown, and we had all, you know, ex-Norwich City footballers and boxers there, and people, high caliber people come and join in with us, and it's like, you know, they were so happy we put Norwich on the map. You know, it's like, you know, you're helping Norwich on the map and stuff like this. And that's what hit me more than anything. The place was actually packed. You couldn't get nowhere else into the premiere in Norwich. And it was a great night. We were taken up in a limo. We were treated special. All the media were there, every TV channel. And it's like, this is real. This is really real. This is happening. You know, it's amazing. And, you know, it's really hard for us, you know, because we never dealt with media on that scale before. You know, we've done sort of interviews and we've done documentaries, but have every media camera on you, which just made us real feel how big the film was, you know.
Oh, absolutely. And I must say, my favorite scene in the movie, and I really hope you tell me that this is true, is when you're sitting around the dinner table with Zak's in-laws and you're talking about wrestling, and I think his mother or the mother-in-law or father-in-law said, "But isn't this the F word?" I'm not going to say what it is because I've got too much respect for you and professional wrestling. And then Nick Frost responds, "Sorry, what?"
Yeah. Yeah. Well, the thing is, Zak's wife is family split up, you know, mum and dad. So one side is portrayed, they are very middle class, you know.
Yeah.
Their mum's side is sort of like, you know, one of us, but they are middle class. And Yeah, they have said that on occasions. Not saying about dinner, but they did ask about it and stuff. And so what happened when he come to do the script on us? He just followed us around for 3 days.
Yeah.
And just wrote everything down. And he amazed me how he got a film out of 3 days of just wandering about with us, and talking to us. So it was just amazing that he got a movie like that out of it. So, and I said 90% of it's very true. Even the Paige stuff, it was not necessarily in the right order, but the things happened, about when she dyed her hair blonde and stuff like that. It wasn't at that time, but she did dye her hair blonde.
Yeah.
That was her first trial when she got turned down.
Oh, right. So yeah, they chopped bits and pieces up just to sort of.
So when she came back and she said they turned her down because she was just another diva. So me and her mum sat down. We go, next time you go back, just go back as yourself, sweetheart. You're a goth. Go back as yourself. So she went back as a goth and got signed straight away.
Yeah.
You understand what I mean? So even though it wasn't the right sequence, it was a bit of a story, but what I'm saying, 90% of it was right, but not necessarily in the right order.
Yeah.
But that did happen, but in a different circumstance,
And as everyone in the pro wrestling world says, the best characters and the best gimmicks, the person portraying themselves just turned all the way up to 11 or 100, or I've heard it said many different ways. And you definitely see that that Paige's character seemed very organic. It's like when I was watching, I was like, this is the person who she is. This isn't necessarily her playing someone all that different to what she actually is.
Well, no, that's what I say. I think the biggest mistake they done with Paige's career, talking from a promotion point of view, was putting her on Total Divas. I think that messed up the whole perception of her being an anti-diva. And I even said to her at the time, I think this is a mistake, Raya, But they're made a millionaire, so I can't really argue. But I just think that was a bit of a dip in. She got a massive following now, anyway. She's still got more people on her social media than all the other girls are still relevant. So she's still very popular. But I think they did lose a bit of a fan base. She went to Total Diva, as I thought someone thought it's a bit of a sellout, because you're not wrestling fans alike, or even soap opera fans. They believe everything's for real. So,
100%, 100%.
People when I have a go at my daughter and I go, you do realise that my daughter's playing a role, Her real name's Saraya Jade Beaver. Paige is a character she plays. You got to learn to decipher from the character to the real person when you're writing all this stuff on the internet to her and stuff, So that's what people come to decipher, But that's my opinion. I mean, they've done great of her. I mean, she's a star and she's out there, so I can't really ask no more. But I just think that was a little glitch they shouldn't have done. But that's my personal opinion.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And, we are getting to that 1 hour mark, Ricky. So it is time for the Guess the Aussie Slang game. I know a lot of our viewers get excited for this when it comes out. I always make sure that I've got some fresh new material. So, Ricky, have you ever been out to Australia? I know you said your lovely wife, Saraya, has been out here, your daughter, Paige.
No, I mean, Nick, what me about how many times, but as I said, you've seen the film, you know my past. So Australia are not very welcoming people, even though I've been out of trouble 30 years and lived a clean life 30 years. Australia are very thing to let me in. So,
mate, look, no worries. I'll put a call in the ScoMo, mate. We'll get that sorted for you, buddy. Don't worry.
As I said, Nick is like a brother to me, and I've never met him. I've got nothing great things to say about the man. And I'd love, because, obviously he's paraplegic, I would love to have the opportunity to go and see him. But I say to Nick, I don't know if we'll ever get past the government, even though I said I've been out of trouble 30 years. But,
Oh, mate. Well, look,
it's a lovely country, I know it is. So my missus can't up a bit,
Well, put it this way. We're going to do the Aussie slang game now. So how it's going to work is I'm going to give you an Aussie slang word. I'm going to put it in a sentence for you, and I want you to tell me what it is. So I just want to make sure there's no cheating here. So as long as your lovely wife isn't somewhere along behind you sitting there like miming, tell you what it is. We're going to do it. All right, we're going to get started here. Okay, you ready? The first word, akadaka. In a sentence. Oh, mate, I love me some akadaka.
Tobacco?
Akadaka. No, AC/DC.
Oh, right. Okay.
So we call it because AC/DC, you say it as a word, Akadaka. So, all right, AC/DC, the Australian rock band.
Okay.
All right, next one. Mate, I'll tell you, Ricky, I'm feeling pretty cactus today, brother. Cactus.
So Cactus Jack or something, is it short for or something?
No, feeling cactus. I woke up this morning, mate. I'm feeling a bit cactus.
Prickly?
Yeah, dead or broken. I'll give you that one. I'll give you that one. All right, so you're on the board. All right. Next one is Dax. Hey, mate, you spilt something on your Dax.
Dax. The strides.
Sorry?
On the strides, trousers.
Yeah, on your trousers. That's it. So, all right, next one. Oh, mate, I tore my favorite flannel. Flannel.
Say that again. I didn't get one.
Flannel. I put a hole in my favorite flannel.
All right. No, I ain't got a clue on that one.
Flannelette shirt.
Okay.
All right. I'll tell you what, mate. This bloody kid down the road is a frickin' hoon.
Well, like troublemaker type thing?
Yeah, a hooligan. So someone who's like, you know, like they hop in their car, they're hooning about.
Yeah, hooligan, yes, that makes sense, yeah.
Yeah. I'll tell you what, mate. My dad's outside in his budgie smuggler. That bloke's a frickin' larrikin. So there's two in that one, so that's a two-parter. So there's budgie smuggler and larrikin.
Budgie smuggler, is that swimming trunks?
Yeah, speedo, because it looks like you're smuggling a budgie.
Yeah.
Next one is larrikin.
Larrikin. I can't get that one. No.
Someone who's always up for a laugh.
Okay. Yeah.
All right. So I'll tell you what, mate. That neighbour of mine's a bloody mongrel.
Well, I sound like a dog.
Yeah, like someone who's just a bit of a dickhead, really. You know.
I didn't want to say that.
No, mate, we're uncensored, so you can say whatever you like, Ricky. There's nothing. I should have told you that at the beginning of the interview, mate.
It's the first time ever.
Hey, Ricky, you want to come once this COVID shit's all done, mate? You want to come over to my place for a piss up?
Well, booze, drink.
Yeah, booze, like a party, get together, like.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, mate. You should see my new car, Ricky. It's fully sick.
Means it's a dog's bollocks. Good.
Yeah, it means it's absolutely awesome, like over the top.
The dog's bollocks over here.
The dog's bollocks. Okay, all right. I have to write that one down for next time. So this is another one. There's going to be two in this one.
Oh, good.
Hey, Ricky, here's this tinny. Scull it.
Well, is that a can of beer? Drink it.
Yeah, so can of beer, scull it, as in like chug it down, like drink it all in once.
Yeah, Steve Austin.
Yeah, that's it, brother. That's it. All right, so we got a couple more here, so we'll go. Oh, I'll tell you what, mate. My car broke down the other day. It was in the middle of whoop whoop.
In the middle of where?
Whoop whoop.
Oh, shit.
It means middle of nowhere.
Okay.
All right, so this is the last one. Hey, Ricky, up here, just chuck a Yui. Chuck a Yui.
Sick? Been sick?
No, I'm telling you to chuck a U-turn.
Oh, okay. Being a hooey over here has been sick.
Oh, no. Chucking a Yui is, doing a U-turn. But look, that's the Aussie slang game, mate. You haven't done too badly. We've had people do a lot. We've had people do a lot worse, Ricky. But Ricky, why don't you, before we wrap up, why don't you tell everyone where they can find you on social media, where they can support WAW? Take it away.
Well, let's say we got WAWUK.com is our lost myself now. WAW.com is our website. Okay. You can get me at Ricky Knight on Facebook. And we've got WWUK on Instagram. And tomorrow we've got our first download station coming out where we you can get us online for a monthly fee with over 26 years of backlog coming through. So you can get us on there. It should be all over the internet by now, but it's on Twitter where you can catch us tomorrow night. It opens. I'll just get Zak. Zak, where's that thing for download tomorrow? What's that thing tomorrow? Is there a thing that can go? No, it's to publicise it on air.
Yeah, it's on demand.
Oh, okay, it's WAW on demand, Zak said it's out there all over the place, so they can get to that. £6 a month, and they can watch. There's already 70 hours on there. There's going to be 10 hours added every week, and it's 26 years of history.
There you go, guys. Get out there, support WAW, support UK wrestling, and show some love to the Knight family. Ricky, thank you so much for coming on. This has been an absolute pleasure to sit in.
Good.
It's been absolutely, mate. It's been an absolute pleasure having you on the show. Would love to get you on for a part 2 once this whole COVID and lockdown sort of.
I'm going to get you with a Cockney slang.
You know what? Next time we do it, let's do it. You know what?
Yeah.
We'll do a special show where we can go slang word for slang word. Ricky, it sounds great. But to everyone watching, thank you very much. Special thank you to my sponsors, Signal Studios, A-Rock Designs, and Mayan Belts, who make this show possible. Guys, thank you so much for watching. Ricky, again, thank you so much. It's been an absolute pleasure, and we look forward to catching you next time, Ricky.
Okay.
See you guys. Bye.